tribal, you are very familiar with it because in class 7 we have read a chapter tribal societies, right? And there is a new word here that is Dikus. Dikus means it's the tribal community, Dikus means the outsiders. Then another word is the vision of the golden age. Now, during the British time, as everyone was facing problem, so even the tribals were also facing problem. So they started looking or dreaming for a vision of that golden age which they have enjoyed in the past, right? But how will they achieve? The credit goes to a person. In 1885, there was a man named Birsa of a Munda tribe of Chota Nagpur, right? And he had got certain miraculous power. What miraculous power he has got? That he can cure the disease, people say this, and he was able to multiply the grain. This was the belief of the people. That is why a lot of people, not only the of Munda tribe, but people from Santhal and Orient tribe also believed him, and they come to him to cure the disease or for the multiplication of the grain. At the same time, Birsa also claimed himself as a god, that he is the people believed him as a god, and he said that God, he himself said that God has sent him to solve the problems of the tribals, right? And also save the tribals from the Dikus. As I told you, Dikus means the outsiders, right? So now, very much important to understand what was the problem which was faced by the tribal people. So problem under the British rule. Basically, they have got a lot of problems under the British rule. Like the familiar way of life was disappearing, means the way how they lived their life was disappearing, because when Britishers came, they started announcing the forest as the government property, and many of the tribals have to lose the places where they were living from the ages, and was the forest which was their own property, now it became a government property. So there was a lot of disturbance in the way of life they lived, right? Then their livelihood was in threat. Obviously, when they were totally dependent on the forest, and now the forest is snatched away from them by the British, so that is also a problem, that their livelihood was under threat. Then comes that because of that, lot of villagers believe they have got, so their religion was also, they feel that it appeared to be in danger. So basically, let us have a recap of the problem what they have. The familiar way of life was disappearing because the new laws imposed by the British. Then next, livelihood was under threat because whatever the way how they lived in the forest, and they survived with that was taken away, and they was feeling threat. Then comes to the religion. The religious belief or that whatever they performed was also disappearing, or it seems to be appeared in the danger. So these were the problem. That is why people felt that Birsa was the person who can bring or who can undo what is happening in their life, and that is why they started dreaming, or they started having a vision of the golden age. So now before we move further, let us have a short recap what we have studied in class 7 to know the original lifestyle of the tribal before the arrival of the British. So now when we talk about tribes, they have got their own customs and rituals. Different tribes, they have got their own customs, rituals related to the forest. They used to be very much confined, very much satisfied with their own way of living, right? Then the caste division was absent in the society, as we have seen in normal division in the society, caste division, Brahman, Kshatriya, Shudras and Vaishyas, all these divisions were absent in the tribal society. Then there was a tie of kinship, that they were ready to share with the kinship, that feeling they had got. They have got the different type of lifestyle, that they believed in equality. Then comes to love for the nature. They don't destroy the nature, and whatever they consume from the nature, that is only that much they use, and they try to protect or conserve the nature. nature, which was absent in other society, or after the arrival of the British, after the imposing laws against on forest, which had made the life of the tribals difficult. Now we are going to see how did the tribal group split, right? So they have got the different way of living, and basically when we talk about how people live, it is very much important about the livelihood. On the basis of the livelihoods, we decide how the people live. So first of all, many of them were jhum cultivators. Jhum cultivators is the people or the farmers who do jhum cultivation or the shifting cultivation. So in class 7 you must have got some idea about jhum cultivation. Once again I will tell you. Now it is that some tribe, they used to take a piece of land, they clear it, and then they used to grow the crops for 1 or 2 years. After that they slash, cut and slash and burn it, and then they move to some another place. That means they shift to another place. That is why the name is shifting cultivation, right? And that land in which they were doing the cultivation, they leave it fallow. Fallow means to leave it without any, and now then naturally all the decay stuff and nature will revive the fertility of soil, and then after some time, after several years, once again the farming can be done. That this helps to rejuvenate the soil and to regain the fertility once again. So this was the method of some of the tribal groups. They used to practice shifting cultivation, and that is why because of that, when they shift to some another place, they used to shift their home also to another place, right? So they used to entire forest for their property, so they used to move from one place to another because of their livelihood. Then comes another group that is dependent on the hunters and the gatherers. They were hunters and the gatherers, right? What they do, that they used to hunt animals, and not only for themselves but also to provide to other people. Like for an example, those who were involved in agriculture, shifting cultivation or any kind of agriculture. So these people, they used to take grain from them, and then the animals which they hunted or whatever the forest produced they gathered, they used to give to those people. So this is how their main work was, hunting and gathering. So for that they have to move from place to place. They were not fixed at one particular place. They used to move in entire forest. Now what was the forest produce? They used to collect usually. So like so many things, whatever the forest produced, like honey. Then there was a flower named kusum and palash. They used to take. It was used for dye purpose of coloring leather and cloth. Then there are sal and mawa. These were also flowers which was used to extract oil, which was used for the cooking. So you can see that these are the forest produce they used to collect. And the major tribe, those who were involved in this, was Ponds of Orissa and then Vedas of central India, right? So this is how there were two we have noticed. One is jhum cultivator, another was some group of people, they depend on hunting and gathering. Then let us come to third. Many of them were involved, they were herders. Now as we know, herders' main work is to keep cattle. It can be sheep, it can be lamb, it can be cows, buffaloes. So you can see that there are certain tribes, those who are basically herders, and they depend from the food or the product which is being they get from those animals which they rear. The cattle which they rear. Now they were the chief tribes were one Butcher of Punjab, then Labadi of Andhra Pradesh, then Bakarwal of Kashmir, and Gaddis of Kullu. So these were the major tribes, those who depend their livelihood was with the herding the animals, right? Then there was another category, there was settled cultivators. As we have read about the jhum cultivators, they were not settled because they moved from one place to another, but it was very, very difficult. So over a period of time, not at the British time, before that also, some of the tribes, they started settling at one place, because whenever they have to move from one place to another, entire home, entire stuff they have to shift. So many of the tribes, they started settling at place, and then they used to do the cultivation in the area near their home. So these were the major tribes were Munda of Chotanagpur, then Santhal of Odisha, and then Gauls of Central India. So these were the major tribes, those who were involved in the shifting cultivations, right? So when Britishers started imposing, or they started taking the land for the expansion of the civilization, they started taking the forest area, so the forest started becoming smaller. So which made problem to the room cultivators, as the land they were restricted at one particular place, so they find it problem for the shifting cultivation, and later on the shifting cultivation was banned also by the British. Then hunters and gatherers, again they also felt a lot of problem, because as the forests were shrunk, they were not able to move, and the land was also restricted. So many of them they were scared with the British, but some of them, like the Vedas tribe, they moved deep into the forest, and they did not listen to they don't want to be a settled cultivators or come in the trap of the British. Then comes to herders, again they have also got a problem, because now they have got a limited place for the animals to graze. And then when we talk about settled cultivators, okay fine, they were a little bit easy for the British to control, because they were at one particular place. So first Britishers tried to approach them to get a control over the forest. See that how did colonial rule affect the tribal society, right? So lot many things. Before that, we have seen about that how for the survival, for the livelihood, how people live and what they do. So now we are going to see that how the tribal life was affected by the British rule, as we have seen in the rural area or the countryside, it was affected by the British rule. So for that we have to understand by the tribal chief. Now who were the tribal chief? They were the head of the tribe, and entire tribe used to follow them, and whatever the instructions were given by them were followed by the tribal people, and they lived happily, right? So before that, now we have to understand two aspects. One, before how was the life of the tribal chief, how they survived, as well as then how their power was changed, or what changes came into their life after the British rule or during the colonial rule. So we can see here, now if you see tribal chief before, now they enjoyed economic power. All the economic power was under their control, that means entire forest was under their control, so they have got a lot of economic power. Then administer and control the territories. All the territories which was belonged to the tribal chief were tribal areas were controlled by the tribal chief, and these tribal chiefs were elected by the people who were the most strongest one. In many of the movies you must have noticed that anyone who has been arrested or come into their area, they were brought to the tribal chief. Right? Then you can see here they have their own rules. They used to make their own rules and regulations for the tribe, which everyone has to follow. Then we can see the land and the forest management. Entire land and forest management was under them. So they have got their own police even, right? So means entire thing, so sole power was in the hand of the tribal chief. Now let us see how their life changed during the colonial period. So first, only in charge of some villages. Britishers have taken all the powers with them, as per the forest law they have declared forest to be the government property. So these tribal chiefs were only in charge of some villages. Then also they have to rent it out to the people to collect revenue for the British. And then the rules, when we talk about here, they used to make their own rules, whereas during the British time, the British rules are followed, and they have British used to control there, and these tribal chiefs have to follow the instructions. Whatever the rules are made, it was the British rule which was executed by the tribal chief. Then the tribal chief have to pay the tribute to the Britishers, right, to remain to that particular position. Where we have seen earlier they were the whole soul in charge, but here they have to even struggle for the remaining as a tribal chief. They have to give the tribute to the British. Otherwise, again their power will be taken back. Then next is lost authority and unable to perform the traditional activities. Whatever the traditional activities were there of the tribal, they were not able to do, because every time they have to take a permission of the British, and if anything is not matched according to the British rule or according to their policies, then definitely those traditional activities could not be performed by the tribal chief. So this is how we can see that life of the tribal chief was totally under the control of the British. Now let us see about the major occupation was shifting cultivation. So let us see what the changes came into the life of the shifting cultivator. So first of all, it was very easy for Britishers to control to the settled tribe. So these shifting cultivators, as per the profession, they have to move, they have to shift from one place to another. So it was creating problem to the British in various ways. One is first, so they were compelled to settle at one place. Now why they wanted that these people to settle at one place? Because so that they can regularly get a revenue. Let me explain you this once again. Because now when the shifting cultivators were shifting from one place to another place, so when they were not in that particular place, that time it was difficult to get the revenue from the fallow land. And then what the records they are going to maintain, it was difficult. Once they have to maintain for one place, then another place, they keep on shifting. So for that they wanted, for the regular revenue, they wanted these shifting cultivators to settle at one place and become peasant cultivators. Later on, or in that ruling the countryside, you must have heard about the plantation or these kind of things. So for that they needed cultivators. So they wanted these shifting cultivators to convert into a peasant cultivators. So Britishers will also be helped. So what the policies? So Britishers brought the policy. What policy? Land policy. Now according to that land, each and every one was allotted a land. So some of the shifting cultivators, they became landowners, and some of them they became the tenant. Right? So that the places will be restricted in the name. Earlier we have read in class 7 also we have read about that entire forest was the tribal's property. It was not a demarcation of a line. So here now Britishers have restricted a specific land to specific person. Then what happened with all that? These people they got the land and the production reduced of these shifting cultivators, because the land which was given, again in forest we will see that certain area was considered to be a reserve forest. Which area which was the best to grow the timber, Britishers took it as a reserve forest, and the areas which was not quite fertile was given to the shifting cultivators. So because of the two reasons, the soil was dry there, as well as somewhere there was scarcity of water, so the production reduced. So these shifting cultivators, they started feeling a problem with it. So what they started? They started rebellion. Right? Many of the shifting cultivators, they started rebellion. As a result, Britishers could not control that, so they have to allow to continue shifting cultivation in some areas, not entire forest, but some areas the shifting cultivation was allowed by the British, because they did not want to stand for the rebellion anymore. Tribal change with the arrival of the British. So the forest law also had a great impact on the life of the tribal people. Let us see how. Now first, Britishers control all the forest. Britishers have made a policy to control entire forest. So first thing, that forest was declared as the state property. That earlier the forest, which was the tribal's property, now it became the state property. Then let us see the next thing. Now how they have divided certain areas of the forest which was very good for the timber, that they have considered as a reserve forest. Now as they have categorized it as a reserve forest. So for the reserve forest, what was certain thing was restricted here, like no zone cultivation can be done over there, no one can involve themselves in hunting and gathering, as well as any movement cannot be done without the permission of the British. So that area was reserved. But the Britishers later realized that there was a problem, that as there was no involvement of the tribal, so how will they cut the trees, how will they get the laborers, as they were all the tribal displaced from this area, so they were not getting laborers to cut the trees and to transport, right, for the railway sleepers and other transport work. So they got an idea that they have certain areas of the forest they have given to the shifting cultivators, and they have declared as a village forest. Village forest, as the name is, that these tribal people, they live in the forest. Now for living in this forest, what a patch of land was given for them to do the shifting cultivation, right? And because they got the land there, so they have to provide free labor or a very cheap labor for cutting down the trees, and then later on to transport those logs for the railway sleepers. Right? Now let us see. So these all things were opposed by certain people. Like in 1906 in Assam, so Ram Sangma, he has opposed this act. It was not as the life of the tribals. It is disturbing the life of the tribals. And then second, in 1930, there was a forest satyagraha in central provinces. All these things, they opposed the forest law, which was not in the benefit of the tribal people, right? So now let us see the problems with the trades. Now trade also, business also came, as we know from the second chapter only, we are studying the Britishers came here to do the business. So they have not left forest also in the terms of the business. So these tribal people, they noticed initially, so they did not notice, but what happened, lot of traders and moneylanders, they were coming to the forest frequently, and they brought their offer, like they wanted to buy the forest produce, and in place of that they wanted to give them cash amount, right? Then they also offered them cash loan, right, to do the work. These all things were to emphasizing them. Initially tribals did not understand what is the motive behind it. Motive was to do the business, as Britishers' main objective was to do the business. Then they also offered them for wages, work for wages. Now why tribal people wanted work? As we know that tribal people entire life is depend on the forest, and we have seen according to the forest law that the land was taken away, forest was shrunk, right? So they were deprived of the livelihood, so they wanted work. So here these traders and moneylanders, they also offered them, these contractors. There was another group contractors who offered them to go for work. Now work, where do they get the work? They get the work in plantation and or mining. Right? We have studied about plantation in the previous chapter, ruling the countryside, and even the mining, they wanted laborers. So now if any tribal, they get ready to do the work, as they were already deprived from the work, so they have to sign the contract. And now how they were suffering, that these people, they got very low wages. They have to work for low wages, and the working condition there was very, very bad. And even if any of the tribal, if they want to return back home, they were not allowed, they were prevented to return home unless and until they complete the contract, and the contract was at least 2 or 3 years. Right? Now let us take an example how the traders, moneylanders exploited. Here we have seen the exploitation of contractors, right? But now see how the traders and moneylanders, they exploit people. Take an example for Hazaribagh, which is in Jharkhand, right? So here the Santhal tribe, they rear cocoon, right? And you know that cocoon is used to make silk. So silk, they used to produce that. So what happened, that these traders, they used to take the cocoon from there, and 1,000 cocoon they used to take approximately 2 or 3 rupees, and then they sold it to the producer in 5 times more than the amount they got to the person who has reared the cocoon. So this is how they were deeply exploited by the traders. These all were the problems which tribal people faced with the British policies. I have come across a name called Birsa, right? So now we are going to study more about Birsa, because we have seen in earlier that people were very much, tribals were very much disturbed with the colonial policies during the colonial rule. So definitely when there is a suppression, so people revolt. So there prominent name when we talk about the world, that was a Birsa Munda, who is treated as a god in the tribal community because he was a person who brought freedom to the people. So let us have a short life sketch of Birsa Munda. So he was born in 1870s, exactly year we don't know, but in 70s he was born. And when he was small, he was born in a very poor family. So he had to move from one place to another because his father went here and there for looking for a job. Meanwhile, he used to raise cattle and move in the forest, in the villages also nearby. So he keep on moving. And then he went to a missionary school. Schools were established by the British, and then because Britishers don't believe in the caste system, so and our traditional society, education was restricted to only the higher section of the society, like Brahmins, Kshatriyas, right? So these tribal people were not treated properly because of the caste system, and so missionaries gave the opportunity to these tribal people to study. So Birsa was also one of the students who studied in these missionary schools. There he has learned. Now when he was small, he has heard a lot of tales of Munda. Now a lot of stories of ancient time, as we also being a small, we used to hear the story with our grandparents or parents or with the story books. So what he has found there, he has studied about the golden age. He has come across the golden age. When we talk about golden age, the time period when he was born, he was finding lot of difficulty. People were very poor, right? But when he compared with the golden age, where the life was very, very good, so he also got started dreaming of or getting fascinated with that particular thing. So one thing he come across, and what he visualized also, that oppression of the Dikus. Dikus were the people outsiders, money lander and all these people. So whatever the problem they were creating, all these, he used to being a small child, he used to receive that also, right? Then he saw that people believed that they were the original settler of the place, and these British or other people, they have come and settled down there, but original settler were the tribal people, right? So people were fighting for their land, which is also called Mulk Ki Ladai, right? And then you can see what they were focusing on, ancestral rights and of the community, because we have seen that when Britishers declared forest as a government property, all the rights of the tribals were taken away. So these people were like a discussion, they used to do that, and as a small child he was listening that. Then when he was studying in a missionary school, there a lot of focus was given in the heaven. So it is being said that people, those who go to heaven, they are those who do good things, those who are very kind, those who never used to take liquor and all these things, if they are away from that, they can get a they will be sent to the kingdom of heaven. So that also have got certain impression in his mind. So when he grew up and he saw all the problems, and as he was considered that he will bring change in the life of the people, so first he felt that he has to organize or improve the reform the tribal society. The first, before going for the other thing, first he tried to improve the tribal society. So certain things he said that if you will leave this, and people used to trust him, so they followed also. So that give up liquor. These people, tribal people, they used to drink make local liquors, and they used to drink that. So and that gave birth to a lot of wrong things. So that has to be removed. Then clean their village. The cleanliness be focused. Right, that they should bring the reform in their own society. First improve yourself, and then you are going to fight for the other thing. Then there was a lot of witchcraft and sorcery things also in the tribal society. That also he felt that this is also wrong, should not be done. So he focused on these things, that first we have to be disciplined, self-disciplined. Then only we can fight for those things what we wanted. Right, that vision of the golden age, the heading of the chapter, that will come. Right. So what happened? Now let us see. So after that, now let us see the revolt which was done by people and how they got the freedom. So he started, he did various revolts. So now what was the objective, what the aim of his own mission, what he wanted? He wanted to drive out these people like missionaries. Missionaries means the people, British people, though he has studied in the missionary school, but he was against of the Hindu landlords and missionaries. Missionaries basically means that a person who have taken a mission of any religion. It is not necessary that only Christian missionaries, it can be any. So Hindu landlords, because they forcefully try to snatch the land of the tribes, so that is why he was against of that. So missionaries, then money landers, we have seen that money landers, how they used to give the money and then they trap the villagers in the cycle of the loan. Then Hindu landlords, I have already told, they forcefully take the land of the tribals as they belong to a lower caste. And finally government. When we talk about government, it is the British government who has imposed lot many laws, rules, and which was totally against of the tribal society. So he wanted, the main objective, the main aim was to drive out these people, automatically the problem will solve. So he started the revolt, and with the revolt, what happened in 1885, he was arrested and sent to the prison for 2 years because Britishers felt scared with the uprising or the power of the Birsa, because many followers he had and people blindly followed him whatever he said. So what happened? After 2 years he came back and then again he started. It's not that after the prison he stopped. Again he started. Now this time he was again arrested. When in 1897 he came back. What he did, he has made his setup more organized. How? Then he started using traditional symbols. Then he started calling the Dikus as the Ravan. Now when we talk about Ravan, actually if we attach to the religion, people will be more devotee or they will be more anguish, so that they can come across the problem. So he called these Dikus as the Ravan because Ravan has disturbed the peace and peace which was traveling Ram. So that is what he called all the Dikus, all these people as the Ravan. Right? Then he has established Birsa Raj. That means what? That special means our own rules and regulations will follow. So he established Birsa Raj and he has made a symbol white flag of it. So what happened? Now what is the work of this Birsa Raj or his entire team? That they used to attack, what they attack police stations, churches, post office, government officials, British houses. They used to attack these places, and wherever he attacked, his entire team, they used to put the flag and there was written Birsa Raj. That means what? He openly challenged Britishers that this incident has been done by the Birsa or Birsa Raj, right? So he was not scared. So finally what happened? Police is again arrested in 1897. So he was in prison, and there in 1900 he was died due to cholera in the prison also. But Britishers, even after his death, they were scared of it, and which gave the British became liberal towards the rights of the tribals, and they have brought a lot of changes which improved to a certain extent the condition of the tribal people.